my name is Alyssa, and today I have an update for my eyeshadow rotation project that I've been doing this year. In my eyeshadow rotation project, I have been randomly drawing in 4 magnetic shades, so whether they are from palettes or just singles that I have, things like that. And then I build a color story around those 4, and I'm trying to use all the different ones 4 times each this year. So if you want to know how this last rotation went, then please keep watching. So this last rotation really was the last rotation because I have now completed all of my magnetic shades, whether they were in the palettes or single form. And this color story, I didn't really bother doing a color story. I'll have the picture up on the screen. But I'm also looking at my palette here, but this way I don't have to keep picking it up and spilling shadow everywhere. As I said, it wasn't really a color story this time just because I only had 8 shades left to finish up, and I figured I may as well just do the 8 shades. What was kind of interesting was that 4 of them were just straight neutral types of shimmers. 2 of them are on the dark side and 2 of them are lighter. And then I also had a coppery shade, a gray shade, a green shimmer, and then a duochrome shade. So they weren't necessarily the best for going together. And what I decided would make the most sense was I had this eyeshadow palette needed 1 more use to get the 5 for the year. And yeah, so, I figured this palette has lots of colorful shades and it would be really easy. There's also some neutrals that I could pair with those different shimmers just to jazz it up a bit. I ended up, so I did do my final look with this palette, but then I was kind of just pulling in, just doing other palettes, and then I'd be like, okay, on the lower lash line, let me throw in, one of these shimmers or something like that. The eyeshadow shade that was the hardest for me to use, and the one that I finished today, was the gray matte eyeshadow. So I actually have it like right up here just to kind of deepen slightly. I just wanted a little bit of depth because at first I just had this like neon green type of pastel shade and it was fine, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't mind it looking, flat or whatever. Like it's a different kind of look to my eye shape if I don't have any sort of contour happening there. But today I wanted to have that. And once I put it on, I'm like, yeah, that was the missing part that I needed. Although I also went in and added some blue, and actually that made me like it more, which is funny because blue is not a favorite eyeshadow color. But yeah, so I kind of knew with this, but just also recently I've been having different gray eyeshadows in things, and I've just been having a lot of cool tone shadows that I've had to use for different projects, and it's getting a little bit tiring. Like I was very much warm toned eyeshadow person, occasionally do cool tones, and then I feel like recently I've been all aboard the cool tone train, but then I would do a warm look every so often and like that. But I've been sort of forced into doing a lot of cool tone looks, and so now, I don't know, some of it is also just what I've been wearing. A lot of my clothes that I've been wanting to wear are cool toned. And I can not match my outfit, but I don't know, it's a lot of times like if I'm picking a cool tone shirt, I'm probably just in that cool tone mood. It's almost like when my kids were really little and I would pick out their clothes for the day. Often I'd end up matching them or being similar, but I think it was just like, I'm in a blue shirt day. And so I would end up in a blue shirt and they would end up in a blue shirt. And it was like, oh, look at that. So I think it's like that. If I'm in a green mood, I end up wearing a green shirt. I end up doing some sort of green eyeshadow. That's just what happens. So now that I have finished, the 4 uses on everything, some of these are still, going to get used. Like the greatest gift shade is, as I'm filming this, it's in Expand Those Pans, but I'm not sure exactly when the videos are going up and all that. So, at this moment in time, it is still being used. I'm sort of on the fence though about that shade. I might be retiring it. I've had the eyeshadow for at least 5 years at this point, I think I can say. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at least 5 years because I feel like it was before the pandemic, which is kind of like my, if it's before or after, it's like, well, that's 5 years, so that's a long time for eyeshadow. I don't know if it really adds anything to my collection. Like, I don't have that same color elsewhere, but I don't know if I feel in some ways, actually, let me think about this. All right, so like I'm looking at it, it's like a pink base with, and it looks great on my finger, but this is, I don't get this amount of shine, I feel like, on my eye. It just kind of looks dull. Versus I have right now in the same palette, this is like the amped up, you know what? I feel like I've answered my thought about this. So this is a Tara Moon's eyeshadow, and this was the Greatest Gift shade. And I feel like this is the better version of it. I mean, it's not exactly the same because I feel like the Greatest Gift has a little bit more greeny gold type of shift to it, whereas the Tara Moon shade, it has that at certain angles, but then it has more of like a teal kind of flip to it. But essentially, it is the preferred eyeshadow for me. And since I know the Greatest Gift is old, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and retire it because there's no point in keeping an eyeshadow that, just isn't serving a purpose for me at this point. Looking back at all of my eyeshadow palettes, I feel like I either have done all 5 uses, the 5 looks that is, not uses, just looks, with them, or I maybe have done, there's a couple of them that maybe I only have 4 that are marked down, but I might have done a 5th one. Like I know for instance, the Tarte Pro Remix palette, I have used that palette a bunch with like different things. Yeah, because I just used it for a palette bingo in a project. So maybe I didn't mark that down as a look. That might be part of it too, because that would count. And my Zulu palette, I could probably fit in another look, like if I know that, but yeah, it's, in general, the palettes have been getting used as well. Okay, so I'm sort of torn between 2 ideas because we still have a good chunk of the year left, which means that I could do some other, like I want to keep playing with my makeup and being encouraged to do like different colors and mixing things and all is fun. So I'm sort of wondering, I could do No Pan Left Behind on my palette since I was focusing so much on the singles. Maybe now like this half of the year could be palettes. So maybe I don't do No Pan Left Behind ×5 like I did last year. Maybe I do it more like ×2 or 3. And the new palettes are kind of, excused from this project since I was already doing that as a goal for them this year. I don't know. Do I do palette bingos with my palettes? That would be another idea. So am I doing something that's more palette focused, I guess is one thought. Or another idea I had, I was introduced to this color palette generator by Nikki Lynn here on YouTube. And basically you just do generate and it gives you a color story, which this one is actually really pretty. And I could either use my singles or palette or both to kind of generate color story, try to match the color story and make a look with it. So I guess it's sort of what are you interested in seeing from me? I feel like people like it when I'm like duping things or trying to, use my collection like something. Normally it's like duping like existing palettes, but like what about like something like this, like a color story? Or do you want to see something more with my palettes? Do you want to see both? I might go ahead and film something just anyway, or start kind of, playing around with things. But I would like to hear from you guys because then, even if I do film some things, where would I continue from there? Like, would you want to keep, seeing more of something? I don't know. Just let me know. In the meantime, I'm just going to be having fun, I guess, playing with all the colors that I have. So hopefully you've enjoyed watching this project with me this year. If you've missed any, you can feel free to go back and see the different rotations. Maybe I can do some kind of rotation thing like this later, but like I said, I want to take a little break. It's like I've been doing it. Let's do something else since, technically I've used everything. And yeah, let's see what happens next. So thank you for watching. Until my next video, I hope you'll be doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye!